Hi, I'm Harvey Myers. I will be 62 years old this year, born August 1946 in Tampa, Florida. I'm the middle child, number 6 of 11. There were 9 boys and 2 girls in my family, and my father always stressed education. And his so doing, I think that he produced a family of highly educated individuals. We have one MD, we have a pharmacist, we have a dentist, we have a retired principal, we have a retired PhD chemist, which I am. I spent 29 years at Upjohn, Pharmacia and Upjohn, Pharmacia and Pfizer, and I recently retired from Pfizer after 29 years of service. And now I'm working in the Kalamazoo community, trying to give back to the community. When I was in high school, I had a trip where I spent a few weeks in Washington, and it just happened to coincide with the March on Washington in 1963. And being a teenager at that time with nothing to do, I decided that I would participate in the March on Washington. But as I was marching on Washington and seeing all of these people from all over the United States moving forward, and then as we sat on this hill hearing I Have a Dream, I didn't realize that I was in the midst of this history, and I would be able to sit back here and talk about I was there. Many times we had to go to the colored fountain as opposed to the white fountain, how we had to go to our own theater as opposed to being able to go to the theater downtown. And just about the time that Reverend Dr. King was pushing, I became active with the NAACP, and we as a local chapter decided that enough was enough and that we were going to do what the Reverend Martin Luther King had done in previous areas. And we decided that we will picket the theaters. And as part of the local chapter of the NAACP, we walked in front, or we did a protest march at the local theater. And after 3 days, management actually met with the NAACP and decided that it was time, that they would no longer require blacks to go to the balcony if they actually did come to the theater, that they could come freely to the theater as others were doing. I'm a graduate of Morehouse College, and I like to tell people one of the most famous graduates of Morehouse College is Martin Luther King, Jr. And at the time that I was a freshman at Morehouse, I didn't realize the greatness of this man. One of the requirements that we had to do, I recall in the fall of my sophomore year, was for us to attend this church, to hear a sermon by the Reverend Martin Luther King, and then we fellowship immediately following service and shook hands, and to me he just seemed like another pastor. I did not realize how great a man I was sitting next to, or I was shaking hands with, or I was hearing his sermon. You know, I went because I was asked to go, not so much as I wanted to go at that time. But then as I matured, I came to realize how great a man I was able to interact with. I think that we are moving forward, that in the I Have a Dream speech of 1963, where we wish to have people judged by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. I think that America has made great strides in moving forward. And I don't have an answer as to what Reverend King would be thinking at this point if he just had an occasion to come back. and visit for a short time. I think that Senator Obama moved forward and how he's accepted in the Democratic primary at this point says it's another thing where you listen to the radio or you read the newspapers or hear what the commentators have to say, that they are trying to judge him by the content of his character and not by the color of his skin.